to winning isn't easy. Now, we've been talking about policy provisions that require continued regular and ongoing medical care, but it is not uncommon for the policy to provide, and particularly in this section of the policy, that you provide the disability insurance company, Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe, authorization to obtain additional medical information and to provide non-medical information as part of your proof of claim. We'll deny your claim or stop sending payments if the appropriate information isn't submitted. Now, let's talk about this and break it down. You are going to have to sign medical releases, but I will try to modify the release to provide that you have to be sent a copy of any letter requesting the medical information, that the authorization is only good for 90 days or 180 days, that you actually put on the release the names of the doctors to whom you want the release directed. So I try to control the release of information, but I also send a letter to the doctor saying, we've signed a release that allows you to get the information from the disability insurance or to give to the disability insurance company. But this release doesn't authorize you to have any phone calls with the insurance company or their medical people. And by the way, if you fill out any forms, we want a copy. And by the way, if the disability carrier sends you a letter asking questions about your case, we want a copy and we want to see your response before it's sent in. And those are three things that I also try to put in the amended medical release so that there are limits as to what they can get, from whom they can get it, how often they can get it, the nature of their contact with your doctors, and the fact that this should be a two-way street of disclosure. So if the disability carrier says to you that they can't modify contact an experienced or resident disability attorney such as myself. Now, this policy provision may also say they want non-medical information as part of your proof of claim. Now, what is that? They may want authorization to talk to your employer. They may want authorization to obtain your Social Security file. They may want information about your and get copies of your income tax returns. So let's talk about these. I generally do not have a problem with them getting a copy of your personnel file, but I sure as heck have a problem with them having any ex parte conversations with your employer. What does ex parte mean? That means that they're having a conversation that you're not a party of. And that can be a recipe for disaster because they may ask the employer, was this employee a good employee? Were they having issues? Is this a disgruntled employee? Were they actually requesting time off? Tell me about their job description and what they did. Did you observe them having any problems doing their job? Now, this is a third-party conversation that you're not a party to, and the information that your employer can give can actually delay your claim, but more often than not results in a denial because we are then stuck ultimately with having to undo the damage that your employer did. Now, Social Security files. I get this question all the time. The disability carrier is obligated to get a copy of your Social Security disability file. There's a case called Glenn versus MetLife. It's a Supreme Court case. And the Supreme Court said, hey, you, the disability insurance carrier, have to consider in your decision the decision by the Social Security Administration, and you should be getting a copy of the file and reviewing it. So if the carrier says, I'm gonna ignore it, I'm not gonna get it, that's a great grounds for appeal. But if the carrier sends you a letter and says, here's a release, we want to get the file, and you say, heck no, then we've lost that defense, and a judge is not going to be particularly impressed with the fact that you impeded the carrier's investigation of your claim. So sign the release. Just ask them to send you a copy of whatever it is they get. Now, financial documentation. If you have a residual disability claim where you're claiming that you have lost wages, and you want to be paid a portion of those lost wages, you're going to have to provide financial documentation. And yes, I supply it. I even supply it before they ask for it. What I don't supply is information that's not relevant, like your spouse's W-2, or other information that just isn't really relevant. Sometimes disability policies exclude income for rent that you may have from rental income or other income sources. In my view, it's none of their blank business. So I will provide them with redacted parts of the income tax return. There's also, particularly if you're having a residual disability claim, the need to produce financial documents of your monthly profit and loss statements. You may have to produce your billing records or your coded records. Obviously, you wouldn't want to do that without disclosing patient information or client information, but they're entitled to it. They need that information to calculate benefits, not only to determine what's includable in the calculation, but to do the calculations. So generally, I don't have a problem with the financial information. I do try to control that information. So you can see that there is a ton of information that you need to submit in conjunction with your disability claim that can be in addition to that and include financial information. If you have any questions about releases, please feel free to contact my office and we can give you some advice about that. Well, that's it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And in next week's episode, we are going to be talking about the role of your physician in your disability claim. Your doctor can make or break your disability claim. And we're going to spend the entire episode about talking about their role, the attending physician statement forms, and what information the doctor has got to supply. So I look forward to talking with you in our next podcast episode. If you like this episode, please share it, send us a shout out, and please stay tuned to next week's episode. Thanks.
Are you a professional with questions about your individual disability policy? You need the Disability Insurance Claim Survival Guide for Professionals. This book gives you a comprehensive understanding of your disability policy with tips and to-dos regarding your disability application that will assist you in submitting a winning disability application. This is one you won't want to miss. For the next 24 hours, we are giving away free copies of the Disability Insurance Claim Survival Guide for Professionals. Order yours today at disabilityclaimsforprofessionals.com.